Hello to all viewers. Hello to everyone. I am Shiloh, the last scribe for the house of Jacob. I am a messenger and a true servant of the Almighty. On November 29, 2019, the Almighty will visit the earth to judge every living thing. On that day, every living thing will be given life or death. The Almighty has caused me to see who I am and to know that I am a real descendant of the house of Jacob. This video is part 13 of a series of videos titled The Book of Genesis, Unsealed and Untold, and these series of videos covers everything in the book of Genesis from chapter 1 to chapter 50. With all the confusion removed, with all the allegories removed, in these series of videos you will hear the truth according to the Almighty, according to what the Almighty commanded the house of Jacob to keep recorded. Part 12 ended with Abraham buying a burial place for his wife Sarah from Ephron the Hittite. So, I will continue where I left off. Let's begin video number 13. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, in the land of Canaan. Abraham grew older in age, and the Almighty had blessed Abraham in all things. And the Almighty blessed Abraham to be greatly loved and greatly praised. Abraham spoke to the eldest servant of his house. This servant ruled over all that he had. Abraham spoke to him, saying, "Put your hand on top of my thigh. I will make you take an oath by the Almighty, the Creator of all things. And I will make you take an oath that you will not get my son a woman to wife from the daughters of the Canaanites, from among where I live. You will go to my relatives in my native land, and take a woman to be a wife unto my son Isaac." The servant answered Abraham, asking, "What if the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land? Do I need to bring your son with me to the land where you have come from?" Abraham spoke to him, saying, "Beware that you do not take my son back there. The Almighty led me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred. The Almighty came to me and spoke to me. He promised me, saying, I give this land to you and unto your children, unto your children's offspring, unto your children's offspring's descendants, unto your posterity, unto certain descendants who are of moral quality, and unto a practitioner of his righteousness. Therefore, you will get my son a wife from there, and the Almighty will send his messenger in front of you. If you do not find a woman willing to depart away and journey with you, if you do not find a woman willing to live, prosper, and die according to our way of living, then you will be innocent and clear from this oath with me. Beware, do not take my son back to that land." The servant put his hand on top of the thigh of his lord Abraham, and he took an oath to Abraham concerning that matter. All the goods of his master Abraham was put under his authority, and when he arose, the servant took 10 camels from the herd of camels, then departed. He went to Aram in Mesopotamia, then unto the city of Nahor. At evening time, at the time that women go out to draw water, he made his camels to kneel down outside the city by a well of water. He spoke to the Almighty, saying, "O Almighty, the ruler of my master Abraham, I pray to you and hope this day you show kindness unto my lord Abraham, and send me a good chance of encountering what is appointed to happen. Look and see, I stand here by the water well, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. Let it come to pass that the young women I speak to, and I ask, will you let down your pitcher? I pray that I can drink some water. Then she speaks to me, saying, Drink, and I will give your camels a drink also. Let her be the same woman that you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I will understand that you have shown kindness, mercy, and faithfulness unto my lord Abraham. By this I will know by experience. I will acknowledge and declare you are my master's familiar friend." Before he was done speaking, it came to pass that he looked, and Rebekah came out with her pitcher upon her shoulder. Rebekah was born to Bethuel. Bethuel is the son of Milcah. Milcah became the daughter-in-law of Haran. Milcah is the wife of Nahor. Nahor is Abraham's brother. Rebekah is a virgin, and this young woman is very beautiful to look at. She is happy and kind. She has not known any man in any sexual relations. Now she went down to the well and filled her pitcher. The servant of Abraham ran to meet her and spoke to her, saying, I pray you will let me drink a little water from your pitcher. She answered, saying, Drink, my lord. Then she moved quickly with her hands and let down her pitcher to give him a drink of water. When she finished giving him a drink of water, she spoke to him, saying, I will draw some water for your camels until they are finished drinking. She moved quickly and emptied her pitcher into the trough, then went back to the well to draw water for all his camels. The servant of Abraham was astonished. He began to gaze in wonder at her, yet he held his peace, to understand whether the Almighty had made his journey prosperous or not. As the camels finished drinking water, it came to pass. For Rebekah's ears, the servant of Abraham took 2 golden earrings with the weight of a half shekel, and for her hands he took 2 bracelets of gold that weighed 10 shekels. He spoke to her, asking, Whose daughter are you? I pray that you tell me if there is room in your father's house for me to lodge in. She answered, saying, I am the daughter of Bethuel. Bethuel is the son of Milcah and Nahor. Nahor is Bethuel's father. She continued speaking to him, saying, Also, we have enough straw for the camels. We have enough provender and room for you to lodge in. In awe and fear, the servant of the Almighty humbly bowed down his head to worship the Almighty. He spoke, saying, Blessed be the Almighty, the all-supreme ruler of my lord Abraham. Praise be to the Almighty, who has not left my master empty of his mercy nor his truth. Now I, living according to the customs and manner of the Almighty, has led me to the house of my Lord's brethren. Rebekah ran and told them of her mother's house all these things. Rebekah had a brother. His name is Laban. When Laban saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of his sister Rebekah, saying, This is what the servant of Abraham told to me, it came to pass. Laban ran out to the water well to meet the servant of Abraham. Laban came near to the servant of Abraham, and the servant stood by the camels at the water well. Laban asked him, Why are you standing outside? Come, you are blessed of the Almighty. I have prepared the house for you and the room for the camels. The servant went to the house, and he unclothed his camels in their room. Then he gave the camels straw and provender. The servant of Abraham was given water to wash his feet, and water to wash the men's feet that were with him. Food was set in front of him to eat, but he spoke, saying, I will not eat until I have told my message and about my errand. Then the servant of the Almighty was told to speak on. He spoke, saying, On all sides, I am Abraham's servant. The Almighty has greatly loved my lord Abraham. He has blessed my master to be greatly praised and loved. Therefore, my lord Abraham has become great and powerful. The Almighty has given him flocks, herds, silver, gold, men servants, maid servants, camels, and asses. In her old age, Sarah, my master's wife, gave birth to a son for my lord, and unto him my lord Abraham has given all that he has. My lord made me take an oath, saying, You will not get my son a woman to wife from the Canaanites. The Canaanites are in the land where my lord lives. But he said, You will go to my father's house, to my brethren, and get a woman for my son to marry. I spoke to my lord, asking, What if I do not find a woman willing to depart away and journey with me? What if I do not find a woman willing to live, prosper, and die according to our way of living? My lord answered me, saying, I live according to the covenant of the Almighty. Therefore the Almighty, the all-supreme ruler, will send his messenger with me, and my journey will prosper. So I obeyed my Lord and came here to get a woman of his brethren, of his father's house, to be a wife for his son. Then I will be innocent and clear from my oath to him." My Lord continued speaking to me, saying, "When I come to his brethren, and they do not give me a woman to be a wife for his son, then I will be innocent and clear of my oath to him. This day I came to the water well, and I spoke, saying, O Almighty, all supreme ruler of my Lord Abraham, now if you have made my journey to be prosperous, look and see. I stand by the water well. When the appointed virgin comes forth to draw water, and I speak to her, saying, I pray you will give me a little water to drink from your pitcher. And she answers me, saying, I will give you a drink of some water, and I will draw some water for your camels. Then let this young woman be the same woman whom the Almighty has appointed for my Lord's son." Before I was finished speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder. She went down to the well and drew water. I spoke to her, saying, I pray you will let me drink some water from your pitcher. She moved quickly and let down her pitcher from her shoulder. She spoke to me, saying, Drink some water, and I will give your camels water to drink. So I drank the water, and she gave the camels a drink of water also. I asked her, Whose daughter are you? She answered, saying, I am the daughter of Bethuel. Bethuel is the son of Nahor. Nahor's wife, Milcah, gave birth to Bethuel. Then I put the earrings upon her ears, and the bracelets upon her hands. Then I humbly bowed down my head and worshipped the Almighty as the all-supreme being, the all-supreme ruler, the creator of all things. Indeed, I praised and adored the Almighty, the all-supreme ruler of my Lord Abraham, because he led me in the right way. Now, if you deal kindly and truly with my Lord, tell me. If not, tell me, so I can turn to the right or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered, saying, This matter comes forward from the Almighty. We cannot speak unto you good or bad. Look and see, Rebekah is in front of you. Take her and go. Let her be your Lord's son's wife, as the Almighty has spoken and commanded. It came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped the Almighty by humbly bowing himself to the earth. The servant of the Almighty brought forth jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and clothing. He gave them to Rebekah. He gave precious things to her brother and to her mother. Abraham's servant and the men that were with him did eat and drink. They stayed all night, and they rose up in the morning. Abraham's servant spoke, saying, Send me away unto my Lord. Rebekah's brother and her mother spoke, saying, Let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10 days, then after that she will go. But Abraham's servant answered them, saying, Do not hinder me, do not stop me, seeing the Almighty has caused my journey to prosper. Send me away, so I can go to my Lord. And they answered Abraham's servant, saying, We will call the young woman and find out what she has to say. So they called Rebekah and spoke to her, asking, Will you go with this man? Rebekah answered, saying, I will go. So they sent their sister Rebekah away, along with Rebekah's nurse, Abraham's servant, and his men. They blessed Rebekah, they praised and congratulated her. They spoke to her, saying, You are our sister, and in number you will be the mother of thousands, and they will become millions in number. Therefore, for an inheritance, let your children, your children's descendants, and your posterity possess the gates of those that hate them. Rebekah arose with her young maids, and they rode upon the camels, following the servant of Abraham. The servant and Rebekah departed away. Because he lived in southern Mesopotamia, Isaac came to meet them from the way of the Be'er Lahai-o-Roi water well. At the evening, Isaac went out into the field to meditate on his possessions and his responsibilities. Then he lifted his eyes and saw that camels were coming. When she saw Isaac, Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and she fell down off her camel. Rebekah spoke to the servant of Abraham, asking, "Who is this man that walks in the field to meet us?" And Abraham's servant answered her, saying, "It is Isaac, my son, my Lord's son." So Rebekah took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and had sexual relations with Rebekah, and she became his wife. Isaac loved her as his own family and as a friend. He loved to eat and drink with her. He loved her appetite for wisdom and righteousness. After his mother's death, Isaac repented and found comfort in the Almighty. Then Abraham took another woman to be his wife. Her name was Keturah. For Abraham she gave birth to Zimran, then Yokshan, then Medan, then Midian. Midian is the progenitor of the Midianites. Keturah gave birth to Ishbak, then Shuach. Yoksan fathered Sheva, then Dadan. The sons of Dadan were Asheri, then Letushim, then Leomim. The sons of Midian were Ephah, then Epher, then Hano, then Avidah, then Eldaah. All these were the children of Keturah, but Abraham gave all that he had to his son Isaac. While he was still living, unto his concubines' sons that Abraham fathered, Abraham gave them gifts, then sent them away from his son Isaac. Abraham sent them eastward unto the east country. Abraham lived to be 185 years old. Then Abraham was brought to his people who were gathered together, and Abraham took his last breath, breathed out his soul, and his soul left his body died. Abraham was full of years and in a good old age. He died an old man. Abraham's sons, Isaac and Ishmael, buried him in the field of Ephron, in the cave of Machpelah, that is before Mamre. Ephron is the son of Zoar the Hittite. After the death of Abraham it came to pass, the Almighty blessed Abraham's son Isaac. The Almighty caused him to be praised and adored. Isaac lived by the water well, Be'er Lahai Roi. These are the generations of Abraham's son Ishmael, according to their generations, by their honor, by their glory, by their reputation, and by their authority. The firstborn son of Ishmael is Neviath, then Kedar, then Abiel, then Mibsam, then Mishma, then Duma, then Masa, then Hadar, then Tamar, then Yetur, then Naphish, and Kedama. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names after their towns and after their castles. It was 12 kings according to their Gentile nation of people. Ishmael lived to be 137 years old. He was brought to his people who were gathered together. Then he took his last breath of air, breathed out his soul, and died in the presence of all his brethren. Ishmael's people lived from Havilah unto Shur. Shur is before Egypt as you go toward Assyria. Now these are the generations of Abraham's son Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to be a wife. Rebekah is the sister of Lavan the Syrian. Rebekah is the daughter of Bethuel. Bethuel is known as the Syrian of Padan Aram. Now Isaac worshipped the Almighty as the all-supreme being, the all-supreme ruler, as the creator of all things. And because Isaac's wife was sterile, Isaac prayed with a plea to the Almighty. Because Isaac prayed and worshipped the Almighty, Isaac's wife Rebekah conceived. Indeed, she became pregnant. Within her, Two male children struggled together, as one trying to crush the other, as one trying to oppress the other. So she spoke to herself, asking, if this is right, why is it like this within me? Now Rebekah did not resort to a person, nor did she resort to a god of necromancy. Rebekah did not seek out any deity with prayer and worship. Rebekah had gone to worship the Almighty, the all-supreme being, the all-supreme ruler, the creator of all things. Carefully, she sought the Almighty with worship and prayer. The Almighty spoke to her and declared to her, saying, 2 different nations of people are in your womb, 2 different manners of people, with different judgments, different actions, and different truths will separate from your womb. The older son and his seed will be stone-hearted. They will prove to be stronger in body and stronger in courage. Therefore, the older son and his seed will be stronger than the younger son and his seed. But on all sides, the seed of your eldest son will be made to serve and remain serving the seed of your younger son. The seed of your younger son will be of the service to honor the Almighty. When her time was fulfilled and she was ready to deliver, there were twins in her womb. The firstborn came out a dark reddish color with rough hair like an animal. The rough hair covered him like a garment of fur. Rebekah and Isaac called his name Esau. Right after that, his brother came out, and his hand had taken hold unto Esau's heel. His name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. The boys grew in body, mind, and honor. Esau was an experienced hunter. He was a wild man of the species of Ish, and a man of the open country. He was a man of the wilderness. Jacob was a completely upright man of the species of Ish. He was undefiled. He was morally innocent, ethically pure, and having good integrity. He was quiet and gentle. He did not lack beauty. He did not lack physical strength. And he lived in tents. Isaac loved Esau as his own family and as his friend. Isaac loved to eat the food Esau hunted. Together they would eat, drink, and share wisdom. Rebekah loved Jacob as her own family and as her friend. Together they would eat, drink, and share wisdom. One day, Esau came from the wilderness of the open country, and he was thirsty and exhausted. In his heart, Jacob was angry with the Almighty, but he did not express his feelings. As Jacob was seething, he was boiling a dark red soup. Esau, arrogant and proud against the Almighty, spoke to Jacob, saying, I pray that you will feed me with that same red soup of water, lentils, and cow. Jacob responded, saying, This day sell me your birthright. Surrender your birthright to me. Sell me your right of being the firstborn. Esau answered, saying, Look and see, I am at the point of being a dead man. What profit will my birthright do for me? What profit will my right of being the firstborn do for me? And Jacob answered, saying, This day take an oath to me. Esau took an oath to Jacob and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob gave Esau the bread, boiling red soup of lentils and cow. This is the end of part 13 of my video series titled The Book of Genesis, Unsealed and Untold, that covers my manuscript titled The Almighty, the Beginning, His Creation of Mankind, His Promise to Judge Mankind, His War against the Elohim, His New World, and His Order. I am Shiloh, the last scribe for the house of Jacob. Watch my videos, follow me, and discover the recorded truth about the Almighty, His power, His glory, His honor, His reputation, His experiences with, and His message to all individual species of persons on the earth.